You know, when I do videos on this channel, the main thing I do, aside from trying to fit in the phrases wanker and bollocks, maybe twat every once in a while, is try my best to get people to actually think for once. And I'll openly say this because frankly I don't care. There's plenty of you commenting that are frankly too stupid to watch this channel and do that. Because every once in a while I'll do a video that clearly shows the divide between those who can listen to learn and those who can only hear to react. The last video was such an example. If you haven't watched it yet, I'd suggest doing so, otherwise this video might make no sense. I did ponder because it featured academic agent, I should tell people from the outset, maybe watch the video in its entirety before dropping a comment, thinking, seeing as it's AA, this should be kind of a given, but no! Twats. Speaking of twats, I found this comment, and this was one of those comments that made me tilt my head and think, you daft git. So I went tear through this. I suppose this is a video that makes me unsubscribe. This is not a departure lounge, pal. Your announcement isn't necessary. It's quite strange to pull that and then drop a massive comment. Why are you expecting me to read this meandering wank if you just told me you're buggering off? That makes no sense. You're off to a great start, by the way. I've seen Academic Agent's video, and it's an incredibly narrow and willfully ignorant take on Razor's argument. Trust me, as hard as you think AA's take was, Razor's rebuttal somehow at even less. Razor insists Tucker has changed political affiliations too often and often for money, and that his current motivations of now being pro-Muslim should be viewed with extreme skepticism. AA completely overgeneralizes to the point of blindingly following Tucker and Fuentes, and clearly did zero research into why Razor thinks this way. Do tell us, where's an example of this overgeneralization you speak of? See, this is why I said to watch the video in its entirety before you open your noise hole, because anyone who watched the video will tell you I literally address all of this in the video. I even acknowledged Tucker's murky CIA past and that he apparently changes his positions for money. My counter to this, though, was that this is the fault of the entire system as it stands right now, hence why I said, if this is something that generally irks you, why aren't you an anarchist? I also brought up an example of an ever-Trumper in the Vice President, J.D. Vance. In fact, let's examine this in autistic detail just to ensure there's no way you can possibly weasel your way out of this. When Vance was an ever-Trumper, do you think this was one out of sheer personal conviction? Or do you think he just said that to cozy up to a potential position in politics? Or do you think he was some kind of rogue from day one, meeting Trump behind the scenes going, "Hey, Donald, I don't really dislike all your positions, wink, wink, nudge, nudge"? Do you think his shift towards Trump was based on some kind of genuine self-reflection, realizing the error of his ways? Or do you think it was, well, the people like Trump and it's good for my potential career to do so as well? See, here's the thing for you. You don't know. Because as I mentioned before a long time ago, these people are supposed to be representatives of the will of the people. And if the will of the people changes, they are required to follow by literal job description. If your job depends on changing your positions to suit the will of your constituents you're supposed to represent, well then changing your positions for cash is quite the feature of the democratic process. Stop me if this is breaking your tiny mind, by the way. Again, I can understand Carlson isn't a politician, but it's why I asked, is there a problem with the rhetoric itself, or is the problem Carlson is the one saying it? That's why I brought up the problem being the system itself, because you look kind of gimpy if you complain about this, and you undoubtedly still support people that went through the so-called change of heart because the system requires you to do so. Hence the words of H.L. Mencken, a professional politician is a professionally dishonorable man. In order to get anywhere near high office, he has to make so many compromises and submit to so many humiliations that he becomes indistinguishable from a streetwalker. Again, I point out in the video that AA has expressed skepticism of Tucker during his video on Ben Shapiro's smearing of the duo because it was that bad, saying maybe this is all a massive work. In fact, here, let's listen to it.
I don't know. Maybe this is all a massive work and they're all in on it together. And Shapiro and Levin are like, right, on this angle, we're going to play the heels and we're going to put you over big time, brother. Right? And it was... First of all, they were working with it. They were all in the room, and they're like, right, it's going to be Tucker and Candice. Going to be Tucker and Candice versus Levin and Shapiro. You know, prime time, Saturday night's main event. We're going to be there. Nick was in the room, and Nick says, "That doesn't work for me, brother. That doesn't work for me, brother. I'm the hottest thing in town now. Put me on the card, daddy. Put me on the card, boss man. Put me in, Booker man." Is that how it worked? Because this is fucking mental. The idea, and this has been hyped all over my timeline. Every single one of these $7,000 Hasbro accounts has been hyping this as the best podcast of all time. Ben Shapiro's best ever show is how this has been sold to me as a neutral punter looking on from the sidelines. This is Ben Shapiro's best ever show, is how it's been sold to me. And yet it just seems to be a massive advert for his two biggest rivals. This is just an advert for Tucker Carlson. Anyway, let's carry on.
There you go. Again, America is an oligarchy with several competing power factions. If you don't like Carlson, we understand that, but then who do you support and why? By the way, these aren't even meant to be gotchas. These are just bog-standard questions I would have for anyone who engages in political commentary. I have to question the motivations for this video. Really, I feel that's pretty self-explanatory. Every argument you make against Razer is one that can be directly attributed to you. Every argument you make against Razer is one that can be directly attributed to you. Yeah, no shit, genius. Of course it can be attributed to me. I'm the one making them. I'm assuming you were going for some kind of pot killer black gotcha there, but you really fucked that up. Well done, by the way. As far as the rest of that goes, well, considering he supports the status quo, at least insofar as the Constitution is concerned, and I'm the monarchist who would set it on fire, I would go with no. Personality over substance, but you'll go after Razer's appearance and personality, saying you'll focus on the arguments is incredulously false here. Well, I only did that in the tweets, the video not so much. Did I spend 13 minutes mocking his appearance and personality? No. See, this is the kind of comment that's so patently false people will conclude you're some kind of shit-stirring idiot. You say Razer didn't engage with the entirety of AA's video. He did not, hence why I elaborated on it in my video. But you never directly quote him or present Razer's video, which you could have found on BitChute. Okay, I am going to be generous because I'm such a nice guy, I really am, and assume you mean linking the video in the comment section because there is no way in hell you are stupid enough to chastise me for not featuring a video that was banned by YouTube on YouTube. I feel like saying that out loud is pretty self-explanatory. If you need further elaboration, I think you have bigger problems. I never used clips of AA's video either, by the way, except for the still shot of the map reference. If you mean linking in the comment section, I linked AA's video because it's actually thought-provoking, whereas Razer's video was not. Nor did he address the point of AA's overall themes or what exactly is there to reference. That's it, it's not exactly rocket science. You say Razer simply states things and has no substance, while this entire video somehow has even less substance. Well, considering how little substance you've offered thus far, I feel you're hardly able to qualify what counts as substantive. Moving on. You make an aside that Razer made his own absurd reply 10 days later, whilst you yourself took at least a week to respond in video format, slinging even weaker insults. As your pinned comment says, life can get busy and it takes priority, but you afford Razer zero grace in the matter. Well, no kidding, the weaker, there's less of them. But thank you for admitting he was slinging insults, well done. Of course I said that, considering he gave AA lip for apparently not doing 5 seconds of research, and yet he got basic details about AA wrong the moment he mentioned anything about him in his own video. If someone interjects, shoves their unwelcome face into my post, comments on matters that don't even concern them, whinging about a standard they themselves don't even adhere to, all the while insulting me, why the fuck would I not point out they're full of shit? What's wrong with you? The tweet that started all of the state's drama for women and yet here you are dredging it up and milking it so it persists. What did I just say? Go look at the video. He commented on a post that had nothing to do with him starting the damn drama. My word, there's simming and then there's whatever the hell this is. Did you honestly think this comment was good? This is really embarrassing and you should feel bad. You gotta make content and just like AA, you have to pad it out to 10 plus minutes for ads, so you do you. Try and get this through your thick skull, but the algorithm does better with longer form content, 1. And 2, the main thing my audience kept asking me for previously when the videos were shorter was to make them longer. Seeing as the audience is what keeps the channel's lights on, it's in my best interest to actually listen to them. Funny how that works. And maybe, just maybe, this kind of topic requires a video longer than the average attention span of a Ritalin adult goldfish. I can't be asked with the rest of this. By the way, the person who wrote all this, I told them they sound like a Razorfist fan who didn't even watch the video because I addressed everything they mentioned in the video. And that such a reply of mine is a clear sign I don't have an argument or wish to admit error. So there's a whole video response to your comment. I do hope it's to your liking, and if it isn't, well, who cares? You're unsubscribing anyway. Go shove it up your ass.